Welcome to this video round 9 coverage of the Sinquefield Cup. Yeah, this is the penultimate round, and of course we already have a winner with Fabiano Caruana. Only question is how will he finish this tournament? Will he get in even more wins or just draws, or will he even lose a game? Possible. Does not seem like that in this tournament, but it could happen. Yeah, let's start. And I apologize for being a bit late with this video. Usually I release it earlier, but I had some problems here. One of my neighbors started to drill holes in the wall, it seems, and like a number of them. And they're still drilling, but it's a little bit less obnoxious now, so I feel I can actually record a video without being without producing something that would absolutely annoy you because of the background noise. And the second thing is, it took quite a while for me to get some grips, to get to grips with one of the games. Let's start. Vashila Graf to Palov, and we get this opening. Yeah, it's very decent choice for black, and in fact also what I play against with black against knight f3 g3. This system. Yeah, Bashir obviously decided to play something less sharp, something more solid, and here he allowed even black to play e5. This is not happening that often. Normally the top players decide to play instead of castles to play d4 or c4 to immediately challenge in the center or prevent e5 at least. But white is just playing some sort of Pirt's defense reversed, or yeah, if you want something like King's Indian attack. Black is not playing c5, however, he can just castle, and now white captures on d5. So we get an open center position where white does not really have any advantage, but well, this is true with many openings, so it's just the kind of let's play a game position. Rook e1, knight d7. Yeah, knight d7 is often necessary because white is threatening knight takes e5 possibly. So if black does a nothing move, let's see he plays h6, then this kind of thing is of course coming. Black must attend to that. This is why he just retreated with a knight. This retreat also has a dual purpose. It prevents the tactic, but also enables this kind of thing. Putting a knight on d4, being able to actually replace it with a new knight if white decides to capture. It's already a pretty equal position. We have some normal moves. Yeah, white is getting his rooks connected. Black is trying to go for d4. To be perfectly honest, given the choice, I would already rather play black here, but it's probably about equal. With black, I'm sure what I need to do, put something on d4 and see if white can stand this for long. But it's probably not really anything else than an equal position. And knight d4, as mentioned, black wants a knight there. And here he's able to get a new knight to d4 as soon as it's straight. This is one of those ideas of knight e7, f5. Yeah, and this is a good piece on d4. White cannot easily play c3, something like this. Blunders the exchange. And this is the problem of a knight that's posted up on a central square like here. It's simply strong and you cannot really ignore it for a long time. And if you push it with c3, well, then the d3 pawn will be weak or b3 will be weak. So there are some drawbacks to that as well. Yeah, we see that here MVL, he's playing queen d1, covering this critical square, and then playing c3 to get rid of the knight. Then he played queen b3. I think this is a good approach, getting the queen to an active square. Yeah, in this position now, Topalov played the solid queen d7. Yeah, d3 looks like hanging if black takes. However, we see that this queen is in a sorry state. Black cannot take. Yeah, queen d7 is just normal, connecting the rooks. Rook e3. Yeah, this might prepare the doubling here, playing maybe against the pawn on e5. And, yeah, black is kicking this knight away from its central square, but it might have a good other square here on c4. Takes, takes. And rook e6. Black is also making sure that his e5 pawn is protected. Yeah, king g1 getting out of the long diagonal, potentially a problem for white. Yeah, in this position we can certainly state that black has a little bit more space with his pawns here on e5 and f5. And there's also always a slight worry for white that the d pawn might be a problem. It's not something substantial at the moment, but it could be tricky. The second thing that is not so nice for white is this bishop on a3, which is always, yeah, threatened by being captured. Or there's always the idea that black might capture there, and you don't really do much. So here it's a question what black should do. Topalov played e4, which is the most direct move, and it's pretty much according to his style. He's a very straightforward player. Maybe here he would have had better chances to do something if he played some slower move, like let's say a5, or yeah, maybe a5 is a move like that, or just another move that basically tries to sort of ask white, okay, what are you doing next? After e4, it seems that we will get lots of trades, and it pretty much evaporates the very, very little and symbolic thing that black had. Look, if we look at this, we see that here with the d pawn and the e pawn being traded, lots of pieces have been traded, the rooks have been traded, and it's difficult to see how black should do anything. He took on a3, gives him a little bit better pawn structure, but white is very active. Black now played queen e7. Yeah, what about the capture? This is check, just coming, and white picks up pawns as well. Yeah, he went to e7, covering the 7th rank. h4, and now queen c5 was played. If black takes here, then h5 is a slight problem. What are you doing now? No, black cannot really take, and white is even threatening to take on g6 with check and play knight h4. This is not a good idea. Black instead went with queen c5 to make sure that h5 is not that dangerous. It was played anyway, and now check. We had this trade into an endgame. Here Topalov took, check, and white got the pawn back here. Yeah, we're very close to a draw now, and in fact after a couple of more moves here they agreed to a draw. A very correct game. Yeah, draw here. Why exactly? Yeah, white, if you really want a draw as white, you can always just take here and get to this position, which is simply completely dead. Yeah, white will always protect f2 and just stays on the 2nd rank with the rook forever. It's the easiest way probably to just end the game, but of course white can play any move. He's not in any danger, can also retreat. Yeah, I think a pretty correct draw, and one of the more uneventful games of this event. I guess both players are getting a bit tired, which is understandable. Yeah, maybe Topalov had a very little symbolic advantage around here, but nothing really that you could hope to make many wins of. Okay, so the next game I'm going to look at is Magnus Carlsen against Levon Aronian, and let's open this. And I must admit right away that I'm not sure about the end game. Yeah, we will see. I invested a bit of time to get to grips with it, but I'm not 100% sure about some things. Let's have a look. We got a queen's gambit declined, and Magnus goes for bishop g5, the traditional move. Bishop f4 nowadays is played a bit more often. One reason is why bishop h4 is very often preferred is this line, the Lasker defense of the queen's gambit decline. It's a super solid opening where black pretty quickly exchanges minor pieces, the bishops and the knights. One good thing for black is you get the queen to e7, where it has a good place. It's not. It's a place where the queen cannot be attacked by any pieces. Like if you put it on the c file, for instance, in the Queen's Gambit decline, very often it will be opposed to a rook on c1, things like that. And black generally welcomes some trades because he's got less space. This is a very solid defense for black. It's difficult to win games with it, but it's also very difficult to crack. Yeah, we see some fairly normal looking moves here. Takes. That's an interesting setup for white that Carlsen is choosing. Not a very common one, but I think that if we look at the position around here, black of course managed to get in e5 so that his bishop is enjoying some more space. Knight f6, b4, bishop d7. This is a fairly typical type of position for the Lasker. It's always around equal and a nibble for white. White has a little something. Here it is the d4 knight, which is nicely supported by the e3 pawn. This knight on d4 is just a strong piece and cannot be challenged. And white has ideas to play on the queen side with b4, b5. Maybe at the right moment the bishop can go to f3. And yeah, black is just very solid and tough to beat. But black does not have any big active possibilities. It's the type of opening that that you play if you really just are okay with the draw and want to be very solid. Maybe trying to yeah, sort of tempt the opponent in doing something yeah, less solid. Yeah, I think Carlsen played a very nice plan here with queen c5. This was very interesting. If he wouldn't have done that and played, let's say you play a nothing move here, no? like h3, then knight e4 is quite nice for black to get in. You have those sacrificial ideas, and the knight is simply a good piece on e4. Yeah, something like this can be answered by here, and maybe even knight e6 can be an idea to challenge this nice knight on d4. Carlsen went queen c5, yeah, basically forcing the queen trade, and after g6 and a4, Aronian decided to take. Yeah, you can argue maybe he shouldn't have taken, but it's very difficult to avoid in the long run. White has this a5, a6 idea, and after white playing a5, yeah, you have a hard time. You don't want to play a6 yourself as black, freezing all your pawns on light squares. Yeah, he traded, and now we see that this is the next thing that white can try, play on the b file. Aronian played a5. This is a very tough move to play, as you pretty much say, okay, the b pawn will be here backwards forever, and the problem. On the other hand, it also has some points. If black plays a nothing move like this, white will play a5, and in the upcoming position after rook b1 and a possible doubling, this pawn on b7 will be yeah, eternally fixed on this on the b file, and also be a problem. It's very difficult for black here. White also might have the idea to play a6, break up the structure and expose c6 as a weakness. So a5 is somewhat unconventional looking move, but it's probably a decent idea. Knight b3, immediately looking at the a5 pawn. Rook e5. Yeah, note that something like this is not giving black any big relief. There's also this additional idea. Yeah, rook e5, rook d4. Yeah, all pretty standard moves. Now g5 was played by Aronian. He was looking for a way to make white's expansion with f4 harder to play. That's why he went with g5. h3. And here we come to a key position. Yeah, Aronian now played a very sharp move. That it's the kind of move that either lands you in trouble and then people criticize you for it, or it's it's solving your problems. one of those two things. He went with b5. Surprising move, really trying to sort of free the position in one go. The idea is that after the capture, which is mandatory, rook b8 was played, and black simply wants to get the pawn back, and this way trying to trade his b pawn against the c pawn. Yeah, getting rid of a weakness on b7. However, this whole thing has some drawbacks, mostly exposed by Carlsen's next move, which is very strong. He played f4, yeah, attacking the rook on e5, and more or less forcing what's coming next. Black took on e3, need to get this pawn, and now knight c5 was played. Very nice move. You get to the good square on c5 and set up lots of tactical ideas. Black now took on b6. If he doesn't do that, he will have huge problems with the b pawn. For example, if black plays the capture here, there is rook takes f4, being an even bigger problem. Just tactically, this is a big issue. If black now takes here, we have rook f6. Yeah, all based on this this tactic. So is there something else? Yeah, this maybe. Yeah, we have b7. And you're in a bloody pin here. Not good. Yeah, black must take the pawn. There is no choice. I just want to show that this arises basically by force after b5. King f2. Yeah, attacking this rook. All this is strong play and forces black to be super accurate. G takes f needs to be played. If you do something like this, white plays rook e1 check, king d8, and whoops, d7 is gone. Yeah, he must take. Yeah, and now rook takes f4. We have a comparable position to that to one that I showed before, with white having now multiple threats. Rook f6 is the biggest one. Takes, knight d7, winning the house. Yeah, black must defend with this move. A very good defense. He took on f6 now. And Aronian now played bishop to e8. Weird looking move, yeah. It's clear that, okay, this is not working. White wins big material. But black also had rook takes, and I think that this probably was the better defense. It looks like a very shaky move in a way, but it also sets up this pin. The difficult thing is that this type of position is probably okay for black, but it's very hard to see that beforehand, because it looks really strange that your king is in the middle of the board and white has all the active rooks. But the computer didn't find a win here for white. Maybe this was black's best defense. After bishop e8, I think he's in more trouble. Rook f4 takes, must get the piece back. And now rook e4. This is the reason why probably the other choice was better. This now is totally forced. And white emerges with a better rook endgame. Of course, white has an advantage here. He's got a more active rook and he will get one of those pawns. Black will definitely does not want to play a move like that. I mean, this is not even considered by a strong player. White advances the king and marches the pawn, so this is nonsense. Black must play actively. To be honest, the next couple of moves really are not totally clear to me. Some things are clear to me later in this endgame, and maybe I should show you those and then try to puzzle the way back. I can show you what happened now. Aronian played a rook to b4, activating his rook. Rook takes, c5. Yeah, something like this is of course just a draw. Yeah, 2 against 1 is useless. White must keep his a pawn. Rook d4, rook a6, king g7, a5. All this looks fairly normal. g4. So it's clear that black is fighting for his life here. But the next move and what comes afterwards is not clear to me at all. Aronian had a clear idea how to organize his defense. The question is he able to reach this? What he's getting at. In the game, he was. And this, in a way, justified the next move. But there was one particular position where Carlsen could have won the game. But I'm not clear. It's not clear to me if around here black has a much better defensive try than what Aronian played. For example, if black plays this, like here, I think that white probably should win this. If you get to c5 here, take with the king, you can probably go all the way here. But I really didn't have the time to look at all of that. So let's check the game, because it was very interesting. Aronian played h5, which looks crazy because you just give up the pawn, but it has a very, very clear idea. Carlsen captured.
Check.
Check. And the c pawn is running. This is the super critical position of this endgame. The amazing thing is that exactly here Carlsen had a win, but he didn't play it. He didn't play it. He went with h6, which looks perfectly normal at first, but it turns out that this gives away this game to a draw. I'll show you later, because it's not totally apparent to you unless you really know those endgames exceptionally well. White here could have won with king c2, which does not look very intuitive, but it does prevent the setup that happens in the game, and you will see this later. Black here has a problem because he does not get the rook on the 5th rank to get the sideways attack going. Maybe it's easier if I show you how the game ended in a draw. h6 was played, and now Aronian played rook to b3. He wants to get here and then ultimately to f5. This happened in the game. And you might not believe me at first, but this is a draw. This is a defensive method known as the Vancouver defense. What black is doing here, or the defending side is doing, he attacks white's a pawn from the side, and the problem is white really cannot make any progress here. As long as the a pawn is attacked, the white rook needs to cover it. If you lose the a pawn, it's clearly a draw, because we are in front of the h pawns. This means that white can only really get anywhere if he gets the king near the pawn, and then black starts to give checks.
Check.
Something like this.
Check. Check. Check.
And so on.
Check. 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 Check.
Yeah, you can
check.
Give all those checks, but you always need to return back to f5 to get this 5th rank defense going. It's really just a draw, and this happened in the game basically. Magnus tried
check.
on, but there really wasn't anything happening. Black was just happy to have his rook on the 5th rank and always attack the a pawn.
Check. 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 Check.
There was just one
check.
little moment where there was a trick. Not quite sure where was it. Move 80.
Check.
They continued
check.
For a very long while.
Check.
Yeah, it's the same thing on the 6th rank. This is the original Vancouver position with the rook on f6. but it's just the same thing. Note that if you give this to a computer without any table base, it will give white +5 or +4 or whatever. This is nonsense. This is really just a draw. The comp is not able to calculate this. This is just a defensive mechanism that's unbreakable. In the game here, there was only 1 point with h5 check. Yeah, here, of course, black just needs to play king h6. Yeah, not take the pawn, as this after rook h7, king anywhere a7 is fatal, and white will win. Get the king here and promote. But just here, it's we have a perfect defensive setup, and a couple of moves later we had blank kings. Let's now return to the one critical position that we had, which was around here. So exactly after this move, white could have played king c2. Yeah, what is the big point of this? The point is that here black does not manage to get to this sideways attacking position of the pawn, like on f5. Yeah, why not? It's simply a matter of tempi. If black gives this check here, for example, white takes, and now if you move over to the f file, something like here, then when white has rook b6 or rook d6, whatever, and then he can cover the pawn sideways and actually enter with the king to win. Very easy even. So this is not working. So what else is there? Black can try to mark time with king g7, for example, and then white can do those things here. And now we have a problem. What should black do now? If you go, for instance, to g8, after rook a7, a6, and possibly rook g7 later, you will get Zugzwanged. That's a big problem here. What else? Is there something else? Let's check. Need to look at my notes. What moves did I look at? I can try this here, and it's again a matter of time. Here again, white is quick enough to get this in. Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird situation. It's a Zugzwang kind of phenomenon in the game. Really, now black is threatening this, and white has no way to make any headway. If he goes rook b6, for example, then what was the defense here? Rook a3. Yeah, I need to play this. Rook a3, a6, and how do I draw here? Yeah, here black can just go king h8, and again it's a draw. Yeah, don't let yeah, if you look at this with your computer and it says +4, it shouldn't irritate you. This is really just a draw. How is white ever going to make progress here? Yeah, this rook is always covering the pawn. White is not able to get his king somewhere to attack the rook. Let's say this is not possible due to c2, and white has no way forward here. Absolutely no way. Yeah, the king is here, is blocking both h-pawns. You cannot move the a-pawn yourself. This is a draw. If you want to check this with a table base, for example, with a 6-piece table base, you can enter this position with without the h3 pawn, which is totally irrelevant for the whole thing. This is really just a draw. And yeah, what else? Let's check other possibilities. White tries this, for example. Then what is black's best? You can go to the 5th rank again, or if you want, after a6. My notes are a mess here, really. Or it doesn't really make any difference. This is basically the same thing as in the game, just via a different route. What is not clear to me really in this endgame, and I couldn't really find the time to get nearer the truth, is what is black's best here then? Probably h5 is not sufficient, but I'm not totally sure what he should do. Can he hold with other moves? Maybe it also was the best practical chance to get to this position and let Carlsen find king c2, which he didn't do. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about the endgame, but it seems that I'm not alone with this. I also checked some online published notes by Grandmasters Akobian and Ramirez, and those notes were also not quite conclusive. Okay, so let's look at the final game here, the third game of this session. Caruana Nakamura, so the tournament leader against Nakamura, who's certainly who's last in the tournament, and probably prefers to forget about the whole thing. But still, there are games to be played, and let's see what happened. We got a Berlin defense, not exactly what you expected, but maybe Nakamura didn't really feel like playing any complicated game in the Sicilian or whatever. Yeah, Caruana is going for the end game, which he normally does, and which I feel also should be what white generally should be doing. I mean, I don't think that the other lines give white anything.
Check.
And while the end game is nothing brilliant and very tough to play, it's probably still what white should try. Yeah, I am not going to pretend that I know much about the specific lines. All this has been played quite often, and when we go all the way to here, we even find game references in this position. King g2. Yeah, as you see, with the time spent, Caruana only spent a couple of minutes and Nakamura even less. They both knew and aimed for this position. This has been played a number of times, and is a fairly typical endgame for this line, where it's always the question if white can maintain a little something or if it's just very drawish. White of course enjoys this 3 against 2, so he has some ideas with gaining space on the king side, maybe using this majority. However, black is very solid and tough to break down. It's to be honest, not a particularly attractive position for black, because you're never ever going to win a game, but it is very tough to break down, and maybe really Nakamura wanted to have something which is a bit easier to handle. It's probably not very thrilling to play, but at least you know what you're aiming for. Rook d8. This is new, it seems. Bishop takes c3 had been played before, even in games by Caruana. So it's something that both players know.
Check.
Yeah, we got those trades in. Rook d1, Bishop g3. This is logical. You want to get your f-pawn involved. Takes. And black played rook g6. In fact, for some moves, I think there is not much going on. It's really about equal. Rook d4, f5. Yeah, trying to clarify the situation here on the king side. Bishop h4. Yeah, an intermediate attack on the knight. c5, attacking the rook. And now knight d5. All this looks logical, and I think should be okay for black. Takes, and bishop g3. King to d8. Yeah, and here we have an absolutely critical position. The knight is attacked and it must move. So where do you go now? Yeah, in general, it seems that black shouldn't have any huge difficulties in reaching a draw here. His king is near the pawns, so it can help in the defense, and the e-pawn is not that dangerous at the moment. Still, you need to answer this question: where do you want to go with the knight? Nakamura now very uncharacteristically retreated to e7, And it seems that this is a mistake. Yeah, I think he's really rattled by the tournament, the course of events in this tournament. It turns out that knight c3, getting quicker counterplay against the pawns here, was the right way to go. After that, there shouldn't be any big dangers for black. It's still a fairly complicated endgame. This is not a totally trivial position to play, but here he definitely has counterplay. Something like rook f8 to b8. Black is always threatening to pick up the a pawn. And also in the, if you just compare to the game, knight e7,
check,
rook f8 check, and f4, we see that now white is getting the first threats in. f5 is something that needs to be taken care of. Black is in trouble now. He now went king to e6. And this is probably the next inaccurate move. At first it seems
check,
that this could be a defense, trying to block and play knight to f5. But bishop h4 is very strong. You're threatening rook f7 or just to capture with a very good rook endgame. And the big point is that knight f5 is not good due to king g5. A very funny move. The point being that rook takes f5, takes, is a win for white. This looks, at first you think, okay, it should be a win, yeah, the protected passer on e5, but then you might recognize, oh wait, black is having stuff like that. Yeah, what about this? Isn't he coming with b5? Yeah, white has a funny answer. He needs to play a5. All other moves lose, but this is winning. Here after this, black is not enjoying those pawns very much and ultimately needs to give up control over f6 to let the e-pawn promote. Quite a funny line. So this wasn't a viable defense. Maybe rook g6 check and then just try to hang on here was best, but black is already critical. King e6, however, is really definitely losing. After that, there is no escape anymore. Bishop h4. Yeah, intending rook e8. Yeah, this was forced. There's not much else. And now white is 2 pawns. He's not 2 pawns up. I was about to say that. That's wrong. It's just 1 pawn, but there are 2 passes. And as mentioned, it is lost now. Rook a6 here. Rook h7. King f8 back. Yeah, now rook h6 was played. There also was bishop f2, which was very strong, but this move is also sufficient to win. Knight g6, king to f5, king g7. Yeah, and here we come to a key position of this game. We are on move 40, and Caruana didn't have that much time left. We see that he's shown here with 52 seconds left on the clock, which might or might not be entirely correct, but he definitely didn't have so much time. If you like, you can treat this as a little exercise. White to play and win. I'm going to show you the move now. He didn't play it. So Mr. Perfect is making a mistake. Yeah, rook takes g6 is the win here. Rook takes and e6. Yeah, and this is deadly for black. He has no defense here against those pawns. Simply e7 threatened. And what should black do? If he plays move like that, for example, you go e7, and there's no way to stop this.
Check.
Yeah, it's one way to break through. Yeah, black can try this, but white is just overwhelming. And this will promote. So rook takes g6 was the win here. Not a very difficult move, but with 50 seconds on the clock, it can be tricky. Especially you are in a position where more than one move wins. It's not like other moves don't keep your edge, but this is the moment where you could wrap it up. He went to f2.
Check.
And after knight e7, king e4, rook a4, black definitely has gained something. Yeah, he got some counterplay. It's still not really great, but yeah, you're not dead. You're not dead anymore. Here probably king d3 was the toughest move, but Caruana went with rook e6. Yeah, this was still able, but this white was still able to exert some pressure on black. It's however not a complete win anymore. Yeah, something like like this still puts up a defense. Yeah, he went with rook e6, knight c6, and king f5, yeah, intending to invade with the king. Rook takes.
Check.
And now
check.
Those checks were given. I actually expected now rook g6 with a draw, simply repeating, but Caruana tried to fight with g6, which is really this is something that you must give him credit for, that he tries to still win after he spoiled it earlier. I'm pretty sure he had recognized by now that he could have wrapped up the game much easier earlier. And very often it is in fact a good idea, after you recognize you made a big mistake that spoiled your winning advantage, it's very often a good idea to just end the game and forcing a draw, because very often you even blunder it away. This is very often coming in. Mistakes are coming in pairs, yeah. But well, he tried on, but it's not a win anymore, and Nakamura defended
check
accurately here. Now get to the rook endgame, but black is active enough. He has the d pawn, and always those checks from the back. Yeah, it's all, but black also cannot win. Yeah, white is far too active here.
Check.
So we had a ton of checks.
Check.
And here they agreed a draw. So Caruana only drew this game after his fantastic run, but he could have yeah, relatively easily have won it if he would have found rook takes g6, or yeah, maybe on move 38 there also was this moment where bishop f2 was pretty strong. But okay, he's not a machine. He's also making mistakes. It's still an absolutely mega performance. Yeah, well, Nakamura at least got a draw in this game, and we are settled for the final round being played on Saturday the 6th. And yeah, looking forward to coverage of this final round. Let's see what happens there.
Incoming challenge.
I really should turn this off. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with final round coverage as well. Bye.